Hi guys, Jared here with Day Traders FX. Time for the daily video. We've only got a couple of pairs that I think are worth looking at today, so this will be kind of a quick one, but quick little look at what we've seen in the equities markets. Pretty flat day for the Dow, pretty flat day for the S&P. Oil's actually down just a little bit, gold's up a little bit. Really not a lot of movement today, so things have just been kind of deciding where they want to go. We haven't had any significant U.S. news, and so that was kind of a slowing point in the U.S. session today. But you can see that we've had several announcements. The next thing that we have coming up is the Australian employment numbers, which will be in about 6 hours exactly from right now. So keep an eye on that. And anything we look at in the Aussie pair, remember the employment numbers are big movers for Australia. So just keep an eye on that situation. Coming into tomorrow, we have trade balance for the CAD. That's a big mover. Trade balance for the U.S. That's a big mover. Some unemployment claims is normal. Then we have a little bit of Australian news towards the evening. So we should have a little bit more activity tomorrow and a few more things worth looking at. Quick little look at the currencies as they're setting up. The euro dollar is the one I always like to keep an eye on, really close eye on. Euro pairs actually, euro dollar, euro yen, especially right now when there's so much attention put on them. And I think we have some interesting setups here on this euro dollar. Number one, we have this channel. This is about 123.40 and 124.40. That's really holding in there nicely. Now we had a little dip below that area, but it's right back up above it again. But the real support is at 123.15, and this area is kind of a can go either direction kind of a situation right here. I'm looking for that to hold, but if that breaks, if 123 breaks, then we're headed back into probably into this kind of trend line right here, way back down here into probably the 120. 122, 30, 40, 50 area, so we should be taking a bit of a dive once we get below 123.15. But we're still holding nicely above that 123.15. We're back up above 123.40, currently sitting about 123.60. So a break of this trend line starts to look pretty interesting to me. I think just barely above this level right here, we should have ourselves a nice little opportunity to buy this pair and start taking it back up towards the top of this channel. If 124.40 breaks, it's up there and it's going for it. But just a break of this trend line should get us up into about 124. Well, 124.00 would be kind of the first target, and then beyond that, obviously 124.40, and then beyond that. So just watch those stepping stones. But 124.40 would be the next targeted area above this trend line. So watch this trend line. And again, if this gets back below 123.40, this could be a nice little short-term opportunity to take it into that 123.15 area. So hopefully that makes sense. These are all important levels right here, and ones we want to definitely keep a close eye on. So 124.40, 124.00, 123.40, 123.15. So just make sure you mark those on your charts and get some of that movement there. Pound dollar is not super interesting in my book. It's getting pretty choppy, and there's a few opportunities kind of day to day on it. I think if we can start breaking above some of this upper area, it might get interesting. But for now, it's really choppy and really consolidated and sideways. So I'm not really putting a lot of attention on the pound dollar for the moment. But I am looking a little bit more to the euro yen. We're actually currently long in the euro yen in the group here. Same kind of situation as the euro dollar. Nice double top here. This is 97.75, and then we have kind of the short-term support here. This is still within the big channel, but the short-term support is about 96.70. And then the big support, if we get below this is 96.30, then we're headed back into these lows of 9,500 and kind of into that general area. So just kind of watch that whole array of levels. But right now I think we've got a pretty good chance. We're already above this trend line. It broke, it retraced, and now it's heading back up again. We want to kind of keep it above this little short-term consolidation we can see right here, which is about 97.05, and we're sitting in a couple of pips profit, so it's looking pretty good. Again, taking this up into some of the levels here will be important: 97.30, 40, and then on up into 97.75. But nice little trend line break, and I think there's a decent opportunity to get into this pair even now at current market price and kind of start riding it up into that daily pivot zone. So keep an eye eye on that. That should be pretty important. And then we have the Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar is very nicely within this bigger channel here that we can see on the daily chart, and we can probably expand this channel just a little bit. And this is where it's kind of just been doing a really nice job at sticking around and staying. And so far we're just still very nicely in that channel on the Aussie dollar, and we're right in the middle of it. Lots of room to continue higher, lots of room to continue lower without even coming near getting out of the channel. So what I'm looking for in the short term here is we've got this nice little trend line. If it breaks below this trend line, which I think there's a decent possibility of, then we're going to have 105.35 to deal with. And if you remember this level, this is a pretty solid level. The market tested it several times over a week period, and then now it's been testing it once again as it tested it as resistance, and now it's testing it as support. So over about a 2-week period, and it's been hit over and over and over again. So it's a strong one. So if we get a break of this trend line, there may be a couple of pips, but really the big level I'm looking for is to get back below 105.35. Or on the buy side, it's a little bit on the kind of choppy, interesting side. So I don't know what I would try to do with this as far as entering long. I prefer the sell side of the movement here. So probably going to stay out of that. So once again, really the attention and the focus is on euro dollar and these very, very clear-cut levels that we have in the euro yen. So make sure once again you pause the video, mark the charts, be ready for the levels, and I'll send out Twitter reminders as things happen, and I'll be posting more specific trades in the group. But like I said, we're already in the euro yen for a trade, and we may have some more setting up. So keep an eye on things, and best of luck. I'll see you guys in the chat.